Okay, so I ended up on one part and I'm going to do part two right now. So here's where we are now as Africans and the reality. We are projecting our shame, the shame that we feel that our ancestors were oppressed, because we associate oppression with stupidity. We associate oppression. We have these stories that we tell over and over about how King Shaka Zulu's land was taken for a mirror. We project our inferiority and the inherent inferiority that we have over our ancestors onto the white God or the God of the Bible, right? And I'm not even going to say over the white God per se, right? It's funny that we want that God because that God in our eyes, in our deeply wounded African eyes, has created a structure, has created his people that he's loved and cared for and gone up and down with. And because we don't have that structure, or we think we don't, then we come up with words like we are healing our generational curses. Then we come up with concepts like that. Because only a monotheistic God speaks of blessings and curses based off of our forefathers' behavior. So even in our expression as Africans, we are following that monotheistic or that religion. We are. Even in the way that we expedite and connect with our ancestors privately, we are following an inferior version of who we think they are. Because in our minds, your grandfather, your grandmother can never be like Christ. Your grandmother, your grandfather could never be like Christ. Why? Because your grandmother, your grandfather, your great-grandparents were alcoholics and. We have associated our memories of the people who lived before us with the judgment concept. We don't even look at their lives as being the expansion of our entire lineage consciousness, as the consciousness in our lineages expanding itself through time and through many, many, many years of different eras. We're not just oppressed. That's 400 years. What happened before that? Because we don't know how to look in the mirror and identify the self-righteousness as who we are as we stand now, we want to follow a teaching of somebody else who said to live longer 2,000 years ago than the oppression. It means then that at the heart of our wound, that we look so much at our forefathers and our ancestors as the oppressed, that we've even come to the conclusion that they could only have been oppressed because they had been judged. These are all subliminal conclusions. And these are all reasons why we're afraid to question that one religious God. Because we feel that if we don't question that one religious God, then we don't have a leg to stand on in terms of who cares and nourishes us spiritually. Why? Because we want that one God who's got a personality, who requires a personal relationship to favor me over you. We want that monotheistic entity to do that. And here's the reality: that monotheistic entity as a consciousness? Absolutely doesn't. That monotheistic entity only creates polarity as an expression of itself. And if you guys don't believe this, look at the injustices of your own lives. Look at the injustices of your own lives. And then tell me where, right? And at what point you managed to call upon the one God energy and say, you place karma. That's another word. Place karma. Place judgment on Lerato for doing this. And that entity or energy abides by your command. That energy has got absolutely no incentive, no prerogative to even do that. Because even if we were to follow the monotheistic religion, that entity says that it is an entity that has created all of us equally. So even in monotheism, the one God complex, God does say we are all equal. And that being said, it means then that what you do to me, the one God does not care. What you do to me, that God does not care. That one God is so righteous in itself that it will make absolutely no intervention on your part, right, where you feel injustice. The law of karma is something else, right? Karma is the effect to a cause. That's what karma is. When you drink too much water, the karma is going to the toilet and peeing a lot. That's karma, right? Whether you mean to or not, this is part of the universal laws. So karma is not necessarily the punishment or the judgment of the one God upon others. So we have gotten to this point now that we've got issues as Africans with white people. We've got issues with white people, the descendants of the oppressor, because subliminally, we are angry that their God or the monotheistic God had given them the advantage to come here and do what they felt. Subliminally, we feel victimized by them. And that's why we perpetuate this distaste and this dislike, this undertone of resentment towards them. But we're not directing our anger at the energy that had guided them. Oh no. When it comes to the energy or the God that guided them towards these atrocities, according to us, that energy deserves us to be praising it, that we can have validation. So is this really not just another way of us Africans saying, we feel so inferior, we would love to wear the shoes of the white people? And not only do we want to wear the shoes of the white people, we want their God to perceive us the same way. And in exchange, we will work tirelessly. We will go to church buildings week in and week out, our entire lives. We will quote scriptures. We will show others how self-righteous we are and how much they are lost. We will care so much about the agenda of this God that we will stand on street corners and tell people to repent. We will stand and judge and tell people that their belief in Badimu or not, right, is correct or incorrect. This is at the heart of why we are struggling to connect with our spirituality. Thokozani, this is class 1. See you guys next week.